Guys, Wallen Customs here, and today we are taking a look at the DC Multiverse Build-A-Figure for Doomsday right here, and I'm very excited for this. So let's start building him right now. Alright, so let's start building him right now. First off, let's take a look at his lower torso right here, and we're going to attach the legs. Let's make sure we hit the right foot, and here we go. Hope we get a good click. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Let's get the other leg in. And get another click. Good click. Not bad. Pretty good. So that's how he stacks up so far. Let's zoom up the camera so we're on focus. Alright, next we're going to put the upper torso on. And let's see how this goes. It is pretty hard to do. It doesn't want to go in there. Very stubborn. I'm going to do this off camera for 1 second to get better leverage. So there you go. I definitely needed to do that up close to my body because it's pretty hard to get it in there. Alright, so let's do the arms next. Good click, good click. Sounds pretty good to me. Next one, let's bring this down a little bit. Let's get a good click, good click. Not the best click, but it's in there at least. Alright, now the head. Let's see how that goes. Man, I'm gonna have to do this one more time off camera. Alright guys, now there is Doomsday. Alright guys, so here is Doomsday all built together, and I have to say I like it a lot. You know, it definitely is more updated when it comes to comic books right now. Also, this is how he looks like in some other DC cartoon movies too, so I think it's a pretty good looking figure. I know about a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, or maybe last year, whatever, they came out with that signature Doomsday figure. In my opinion though, that one was a little bit too big for my liking. I know a lot of people loved it, but just a little bit too big for what I like in my own collection. I think this is a good size. This might be really big as well, but I do believe that it's a little bit smaller compared to the other one, but that's just my own opinion. I can't base it off because I don't have the other one to see it, but from pictures, whatever. I like it though. I think it looks pretty good. So right now we're gonna go straight into size comparisons, and then we'll go into more details of the figure. Alright, so for size comparisons, first let's take a look at the whole wave right here. Each of these figures came with a Build-A-Figure for Doomsday back there, and you know, like I said before, I like the size of Doomsday. He is a lot bigger compared to the rest of the figures. Not like a towering big, but a decent size compared to the rest of them, which I like a lot. Now individually right here we have Doomsday Superman right here, and also Armored Batman side by side with Doomsday, so you can see how they match up. Now next right here we have our Superman figures from the DC Unlimited line, sporting the new 52 look right here, and I think this is a pretty good size right here. It looks pretty good. From other videos I've seen of the past Doomsday, the signature one, when they have a normal size Superman standing next to him, he is actually like underneath his chest right here, while this one is just a little bit above it. So I think this is a better size comparison in my opinion to have for a Doomsday figure. You don't want him so towering, like 2 stories tall. In my opinion, that's just too big. So like I said before, I think this is a great size for a Doomsday figure for Superman right here. Next, now we have some other DC figures so we can see how they stack up with this Doomsday figure. And like I said, I like how it looks. He's definitely a lot bigger compared to the rest of them, but not towering, like huge. So I think it looks pretty good. Next, for size comparison, here he is with the original DC Superheroes Doomsday right there. That's more of a 6-inch scale, well, around 6.5 inches right there. And I think this is obviously a lot better. And for another size comparison, here he is next to the Justice Buster, my other Build-A-Figure from the DC line that I have. And I think it's a pretty good size right here. These Build-A-Figures from DC are getting pretty big, which are pretty good, and I like it a lot. Next up is the Hulk right here. This is the SH Figure Arts Hulk right here, and I like how they look together. You know, when I picture the Hulk and Doomsday next to each other, I always figured they would be around the same size, give or take. If not, Doomsday would be a tad bigger, but it really depends on how you see it yourself. But I like how this looks like right here, and you can actually have them going toe to toe maybe, which would be pretty fun to have right there. And next up, if we're talking about the Hulk, we have the Hulkbuster right here, and obviously the Hulkbuster is always one of the biggest Build-A-Figures out there, so it's a pretty good size comparison, in my opinion, right there. even though Doomsday would probably destroy this thing. And rounding off the size comparisons, here he is next to the Build-A-Figure of Juggernaut, which they basically are around the same size almost, and I think it's a pretty good and accurate size comparison right here, which I like a lot. Not bad, pretty good. Alright, now taking a close look at Doomsday. Like I said before, he is sporting a more modern, newer look compared to the old days where he had like the caged face and the ponytail and stuff like that. This is something you would see like in the more updated comic books, also in the movies and the cartoon movies as well. So I like how it looks, you know, it's nice to have something more updated and modern looking. Not bad at all. The face sculpt is pretty good. I like all the spikes and bones coming out of him all over his body as well. Looks very nice, looks pretty good too. Yeah, so it looks, you know, let's take a look at the back actually. Very detailed when it comes to the spikes. They're all actually pretty hard too. Nothing is really soft rubber at all, so be careful there. But I mean, the body itself is pretty plain. I'm not gonna say it's like it's great looking, but the spikes really do give a lot of detail in them, so that's pretty nice. Not a lot of shading also. There is a lack of shading in this whole figure. You would think maybe they had more shading in the spikes, maybe put some blue in there or some black or gray or something, but it's pretty much just all white, so you don't get any shading there, and there is no shading on the body at all. Even on the pants on the bottom here, there's nothing there, and going down. But pretty much the spikes all over his body, the bones, if you want to call it that, is pretty much a lot of detail in that, and sculpting wise. There is definitely some sculpt in there, so that's pretty nice too. I just wish it had more paint apps, so it could probably enhance it a little bit more. Alright, now just taking a quick look at the rest of the body. You know, it looks pretty good. Like I said before, not a lot of detail when it comes to paint. The body is pretty nice and generic looking though, really big. The spikes are probably the best part of it when it comes to sculpting. Just taking a look at the rest of the body right here. You do have some more bones in the back over here, but they're not colored in. But the front part is pretty nicely. Some random paint spots in the back right here. But other than that, it still is pretty good looking. Not bad. So going to articulation right now, he does have a ball jointed head on a hinge, so it goes pretty far back, which is pretty nice right there. Going down, it goes about that much. Pretty standard, just going straight and doesn't really angle down at all. The mouth is rubber, so you could move it if you want, but it won't stay. It just stays open a little bit. It will go left and right, so you have that right there, and not really a pivot though. Now going to the shoulders, his shoulders have hinge joints that rotates to go up about that much, not that far actually, but it goes up and down, no problems right there. Actually, it goes up about that much before it hits the bicep. So you have to angle it a little bit, but that's pretty much it right there. Not bad. Bicep swivel, pretty nice. At the elbow, it goes up about that much. It does not rotate left or right though at all, so you have the bicep only right there. And at the wrist, he has a swivel, no hinges, so that's pretty standard for DC figures. Now let's look at the ab joint. The ab joint isn't that bad. It goes back about that far. It goes forward just a little bit, not that much. I do wish it went forward a little bit more, but it's better than nothing, of course. He does have a waist swivel right there, which is pretty good. At the hips, T-jointed hips, so they go up about that much. Not the greatest, to be honest. It could be a little bit better, but he is a big figure, so I don't know how much you're going to get out of him. He does have a thigh swivel right there, one point at the knee, and at the hinge right there at the ankle, and that's about it. But pretty good range though on the hinge, so that's pretty good. So he has standard articulation when it comes to a DC figure, pretty much. A little bit hindered, a little bit at the shoulders, but not that horrible. I do wish the ab joint was a little bit better as well, but it's better than nothing. Over here at the hips, not bad. They do bend at least, so you can still get him in decent poses, kinda. Maybe you bend in the, right there, you bend in the ankles a little bit, you bring his torso up like that. He does look kind of weird actually. So yeah, I mean, he had the articulation, it's just a little bit hindered, maybe. But you could definitely work your way around it because the ankle joint is pretty good actually. So that's pretty nice right there. Alright guys, now let's take this video home and let me give my 2 cents on the figure as a whole. So I like the figure a lot. Like I said before, I never had the signature Doomsday figure, in my opinion, was a little bit too big. Don't get me wrong, this is a big figure also, but in my opinion, from what I can see, it looks like this is a little bit smaller, which is a pretty good scale for your DC 6-inch line of figures. But that's just all based off opinion, to be honest. Maybe you like the other one, so who knows. But I like this one. That's pretty good. I like the updated look as well. It's more, obviously this is from the new 52 look, of course, and also how he looks like in some of the cartoons as well. I like how he no longer has the ponytail. I like the hair on the side. The spikes I like a lot. They're kind of jetting back a little bit, which is nice as well. He no longer had that big backpack of spikes out of the back, so that's pretty good too. Definitely looks pretty nice in my opinion. When it comes to paint apps, so like I said before, you know, this figure might not have a lot of paint apps. I do wish that the bones were more shaded in. Also, I do wish the body was shaded a little bit more as well. But, you know, other than that, it still is a great figure. All the paint is still pretty good. What is gray is gray. What is white. It's definitely a good painted figure, so don't get me wrong. You know, it's better to have a nicely clean painted figure than a poorly painted figure. You know what I mean? So I just wish a little bit more detail would have been nicer. When it comes to articulation, like I said before, it's pretty standard articulation for a DC figure, so you know, nothing new here. It might have some limitations, but it's not that bad. You can still get a lot of poses out of him, just like any other figure from the DC line. Also, the ankle joints right here, it only has a hinge, but it's a pretty good hinge. It goes in pretty deep, so you get them pretty low as well, so that's pretty good too. So it makes up a lot for the lack in the knees or maybe in the hips. So that's a good thing to have. And it just looks pretty good overall. I like it a lot, you know. Like I said before, it's based off preference, what you like about it. I think it looks pretty good. I think the spikes look really good as well. And yeah, so that's about it. You know, as the Build-A-Figure itself, it definitely is pretty cool. I've been collecting obviously I collected the whole wave, and I really collected all the figures just for this one Build-A-Figure. But I have to admit, I was really surprised at how good the other figures were. You know, I didn't care about Robin, I didn't care about Supergirl, I didn't care about Doomsday Superman, but I have to admit, they were pretty nice. When I was reviewing them, I was surprised at how much I liked them. Even like this Lex Luthor figure is pretty good too. Not bad. Pretty good sculpting on it as well. You know, when it comes to QC problems or QC issues with this whole wave, there really isn't a lot. You know, when it comes to Marvel figures, when you get Marvel figures, you always know you're installed for something when it comes to QC problems. But with this whole wave of DC figures, they're pretty good. So I definitely had to give them a thumbs up for that one. It's a pretty good wave, definitely, so you might like it. And that's about it, guys. So it's a pretty nice update for Doomsday. It's nice to have him in your collection. If you haven't gotten the signature Doomsday like I didn't, I was pretty much waiting for this one, and I'm pretty happy I waited. So he will definitely be in my collection right there. So that's about it, guys. Do you like it? Do you prefer the signature Doomsday figure from a year ago? Do you have that one? Do you have both of them? What do you guys think about it? Leave a comment below in the descriptions and let me know. And that's about it, guys. So thank you for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe. Do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go to wildandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Peace.